So this demonstration is part 2 of the pinch pop making process. Part 1 was doing some rough forming, and let's see, I've got one right here. It just finished part 1. So step 1 in this process is pinch the clay out. You're trying to keep the opening as small as possible, the belly as wide as possible, but most importantly, you're trying to keep the walls as even in thickness as possible. As cracks start to happen, you should be compressing them and getting rid of them. Compressing means you have one hand inside supporting the clay and the other hand outside compressing it. So 2 hands working together. Okay, so this guy, you can see he's still soft, but it's definitely ready to go out in the sun and stiffen up. Let me fix that crack before I let that happen. So pretend I'm putting that outside, and pretend that this is about 20 minutes later. It's now firm, and it's kind of hard to see on camera what it looks like, but you can hear it's making noise. And this is where I'm going to do some other shaping techniques like paddling. So this is a paddle, and it is not for paddling people. It's for paddling pots, and it's a shaping technique. And this is a good time to remember that we're talking about organic and asymmetrical forms. These are the goals. So I'm looking at this, I'm thinking about the forms that are in nature. I'm thinking about like gourds and vegetables and fruits, or river rocks or potatoes. I'm not thinking about things like baseballs or other things. So anyway, I'm just kind of looking at the shape, I'm paddling it, and I'm responding to the shape creatively and intuitively, trying to decide what this is trying to become. So I'm going to talk about how to refine the shape here, and this is step 2, but step 3 is going to be adding things or decorating. And so I am thinking about, I wonder if I built a little neck off of this, or some feet on the bottom, how that would hold it up. Would that be interesting? And I'm gonna think about that. So, all right, I just did my paddling, and the paddling, you can see, got rid of most of the fingerprints. So at this point, I'm going to take the sure form. Remember, this is called a sure form, not a cheese grater. And I'm going to shave off the tops of the bumps. So just the tops of the bumps. I'm not shaving the thickness of the walls away. You got to be careful using the sure form like this, because you are removing clay. And remember, our main goal is to have even thickness walls on everything we're going to make this year. So again, just the tops of the bumps. I'm getting off trying to get this smoother and more refined. You can see this is leaving a texture also. And I'm going to get rid of that next. But again, I'm trying to be real careful about where I'm shaving. I don't want to shave too much in one spot, because that's going to leave a thin spot, and that's going to defeat our whole purpose or goal of having everything be the same thickness. Okay, so shave, shave, shave. Almost there. Next, I'm going to take a metal rib tool. So I've got a selection of metal rib tools here. You may borrow these, bring them back when you're done. But I'm going to use these to take off the texture left behind by the sure form. So again, I'm supporting the inside wall. If I need to. This one's probably a little softer than I need it. I'm going to switch back to this drier one I was working on earlier and show you really what this looks like. So this area is still kind of lumpy and bumpy, and I'm shaving off this area. I'm going to do the whole thing, but just for demonstration purposes, I'm showing you this little section. So the tops of the bumps are done. And then the sure form, the rib tool, the metal rib tool gets in there. This is called a rib tool. And that's going to get rid of the sure form marks. So in the end, we can finish with a very smooth surface. So a little finger polishing now. So a little bit of water on the surface, and then just lightly polishing to to create that skin, that kind of soft skin on the surface. Oops. And so this is really what we're talking about. So that's how to refine the surface of your pinch pot. So paddling, shear forming, scraping, and that's really step 2. Step 3, we talk about adding stuff. So whether we're adding, let me grab these examples. Something like a neck on this guy, or facial features. This is a pinch pot. These are all pinch pots. This is more clay than I started with, so this stuff was added on. I'm going to go ahead and build a neck on this one here, and I'm going to do that by adding coils. So I'm just going to roll this coil out about the thickness of a finger, of one of my fingers, and now I'm going to score and slip. So this is a technique for adding clay to the surface, and the first step in scoring and slipping is to wet the surface and then to score the surface. Probably should have made this as 2 separate videos. This is going to be a long video. Do you guys know how to edit videos?
Yeah.
We can take this long video and cut it in half?
Yeah.
And make it into 2 videos?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there, I just scored this. I'm going to repeat that 2 more times. Actually, this clay is a little on the soft side. 2 or 3 times. So that was 2 rounds of scoring and slipping. So wet it, score it, wet it, score it. Okay, and now I've got a surface that I can add clay to. So I'm going to take my coil and I'm going to start adding it to the surface. So I pinch the coil just like we pinch the pinch pots as we go. And I'm adding this coil on. So the coil is on, but to really make it stick, I need to compress it. So I'm going to compress using an inside hand and an outside hand. So my inside finger is supporting while my thumb does the compressing, but I'm only compressing with my thumb against the clay that's being backed up by my inside finger. And then I need to do the same thing on the inside. So compress the coil. You don't want to see any seams left between the coils. If you can see a seam, you need to compress it more. I did not add water. This is all just soft clay that's compressing together. And now I can go do some more pinching if I need to. Starting to look like this is some sort of mouth. Maybe that's what it wants to become. And then maybe if I wanted to go to town with this, I could add some teeth in there. Would that be funny? So any other things you could do on this, I added these coils here and then I pinched them to create shapes. I could score and slip spikes and thorns and branches and vines and other types of organic. Think of things that occur naturally, either plants or animal or kind of earth formations. These are the kind of things, kinds of designs you want to be exploring in this project. And as this clay is starting to firm up, I can really compress. Now if I am smooth enough with my fingers, I don't need to shear form, I don't need to paddle, and I won't need to scrape with the rib tool. But you can see I got this pretty smooth just with my fingers alone. So I could continue building, I could put some little legs on this, there's a lot I can do. So that's step 2 and 3 of making the pinch pots. Have fun.